Hello everyone. So a couple of days ago I heard about the unfortunate passing of Mr. Eddie Van Halen, an excellent guitarist, and that kind of got me thinking, what was his influence on me personally and kind of what his influence was on music in general. And just thought I'd do a video just demonstrating a couple of ideas and a few more takes on some of the ideas that I got from his playing. Eddie was just an incredible influence on guitar in general. If you think back in the 1970s, nobody was doing what Eddie was doing. The tapping and things like that. Nobody was really doing that. You had a few players before that, would kind of mess around with that stuff. But Eddie, is the one that I guess took it to more of a mainstream level. To a very technical level. Whereas at the time, it was not, considered a technical thing to do. Actually, at the time, it probably wasn't really even considered as a really valid technique. So anyway, today it's pretty common to see, guitarists doing all sorts of, all sorts of technical stuff on guitar. But back then it wasn't. You had Hendrix. Hadn't played that in a while, but you had him kind of doing the whole blues thing and distorted guitar, but it still wasn't extremely technical in nature, like or fast in nature, like some of the stuff that Eddie was doing. But anyway, so I remember when I was 15, I was at my cousin's house, and he had downloaded some music from, I think, like Napster, one of the old, extremely old sites that was probably extremely illegal to get anything from. But anyway, I heard one of his solos, and it was, I think, an intro to the Eruption solo, but it was at one of his live concerts. So he started it off like this. It's like, I just thought that was so cool, that little slide variation on the E chord there. So I've kind of been incorporating a lot of that into my playing through the years, probably because of that. But and then so I heard that, and then he went into this, tapping stuff, So at the time I'm like, what in the world? Well, what in the world is he doing? And some of that stuff, which I can't do. I haven't done that in years and years. So I was actually a lot better at it back then. So I'm not even going to attempt to play that. But it was just extremely cool hearing that for the first time, and especially, I didn't even know that any of that stuff was possible. Like I said, I was listening to Hendrix and Styx and things like that, and figuring out, just simple stuff. Just simple solos and things like that. So Eddie really helped me kind of figure out what was possible with a guitar. Also, some of the picking stuff. Some of that stuff that he was doing as well was extremely cool. One thing that I wanted to show today was a few variations on some of his tapping stuff. Now, one of the coolest tapping licks that I heard from him was this one. That one right there, he would be picking on the neck here near the frets, and then he'd go into something like that. And the first time I heard that, I was like, man, what in the world is that? Because it was such a wide interval stretch. When I finally learned it, I remember my guitar teacher showing it to me, and it's like, man, I was super excited to go home and just play with anything tapping related. I thought it was just amazing. So I just remember being super excited about that, going home and having to do something else, and just couldn't wait till I could pick up the guitar and mess around with that. But so anyway, as far as what influenced me about Eddie's playing and tapping, first of all, to show you what's going on here, it's just simply this. Pretty simple. So it's just 3 notes on the E string, and then 3 notes on the B string, And so I'm using my middle finger on my right hand to tap. I'm assuming that most people will do this as well. Use their middle finger. So I'm doing a hammer, pull off, hammer, and then hammer, pull off, hammer. So it's also very important to remember that when you're doing any kind of tapping with your right hand, just like with your left hand, when you do hammer-ons and pull-offs, you want to pull down towards the floor just a little bit to get the note to sound. And it's the same way with your right hand. So that's important to remember. Another important thing to remember is the muting of the right hand. Notice that I've got my hand just kind of draped over the neck a little bit, and what that's going to do is mute out the lower strings. So there's that. So that idea from Eddie, I kind of messed around with that and expounded on it a little bit, and just came up with a few other cool ideas. So when Eddie did it in his solo, it was here. It was like that. But there's also some other cool variations that you can do with it. So if I do this, same thing here. And bring my right hand up 2 frets. Same exact pattern. You get that. So you have that. You can also move it up 3 frets. So we're here. Move it up 3 frets. So you have that. And you can also move your left hand up 3 frets. Now your pattern in your left hand is going to change. So instead of having 4 frets in between the notes, you're going to have 5. So it'll be a bigger stretch, a bigger pattern. I keep pulling this E string off the board. Now I haven't done tapping like this in a long time, so I do have to be careful. I'm not very good at it like I used to be. But so you have that, and so that's another variation, and you can of course go back here. And what I did there was I just took the thing, the same pattern up 1 fret from here. So you have that. So that whole thing, it's just a cool idea. Another thing that you can do here is, whoops. This. So the right hand stays the same. Excuse me, well the right hand pattern stays the same, but the right hand moves over to the B string. So I'm starting on the B. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4 frets in between here on your B string. And then on your G string, you have 3 frets. So that's a cool thing. Whoops. So stuff like that right there. And so you can also come back to your A position here. Back to this pattern. and actually do the same thing on the B and G string, like we just did up there. So if we go back and forth between that, you have that. You can also come back up to your original pattern here, and then take your left hand down. So instead of having 3 frets in between, you're gonna have 2. And you can also take it down one more. Now the right hand pattern does change. I do move the starting note over 1 fret, and then bouncing back to the B string here. So on the right hand, you go up 1 fret on the E string. So those are some pretty cool ideas with just that one pattern. And what I did here was, so we're back to our B and G string here. And what I did here is, instead of on the B string having 4 frets between, I had 3. So that gives us a Mixolydian, or Lydian tone with that, that 4 in there. A few more ideas on tapping stuff back here at our A position. So we've jumped down where we have our E and B string, and then our B and G string, and then we can actually jump down to our G and D. Now that is the same pattern in the right hand, but in our left hand on the G string we have 2 frets. And then on the D string, 5 frets. And you can experiment with that. Now that's 5 frets on the G string and the D string. Now, I mean, tapping is just, players have done crazy things with tapping, and I'm not a big tapping guy. I think it sounds just incredibly cool with some of the things that you can do with it, but I really haven't practiced it all that much. But I mean, you can do some just extremely cool things. Also sounds really cool if you can play with your pick. Up here at the on the frets. So One more thing about tapping that I've kind of messed around with is you can actually put your left hand over like this right here, and basically the left hand is just sitting on the frets, muting the notes, and then you can take your right hand and just play in front of your left hand like that. You can do arpeggios. I used to actually practice this. I suck at it now, but did want to give an idea of what you can do. One cool lick here is I think that might be the Walking Dead theme song. Not sure. So that's just one note per string. So it's pointer finger, ring finger, pinky finger, and then the first finger drops down. So that's E, A, D, G. So just one note per string. Except on the G string, you can reach up there with your pinky and grab that. You can do that. Oh, that's a cool one. Let me see if I slide down here if I can do this any better. My fingers are pretty weak right now, but haven't played in months really, or had a lot of practice time. But that one's pretty cool. It's just one note per string. So E, first finger on the E, ring finger on A, pinky on the D, pointer on the G, middle finger on the B, and then pinky on the E. Anyway, I hope that gives you some ideas for some tapping stuff. Again, it's been a while since I've done a lot of this, and with just this one little take on something that Eddie did in one of his solos, can just inspired all this other stuff. So if you guys enjoyed that, have fun with it, do what you want to with it. So if you like the content of the channel, feel free to subscribe. Hit that subscribe button and you will see some more content coming up really soon.